Eyes of the Sky here. In this video, we're going to take a look at Keeneland's opening day tomorrow. We're going to go over the three big stakes races on the card and kind of how to play Keeneland as a track. It's one of the shorter meets, and there's going to be big stakes race on that card all weekend. And tomorrow, kick off on race 7, the Phoenix Stakes. And I don't think this prestigious of a stakes race is what it's been in the past when you've had like Run Happy win it and AP Indian and then Promises Fulfilled. Some very good sprinters. I think this race is kind of lacking from any really big sprinter standpoint. Probably the most notorious to be special reserved, the number 2 horses. He raced last year in the Breeders' Cup and finished fourth, but he also won the stakes race last year. And then, was racing in some, grade ones like the Alfred G. Vanderbilt Handicap. And if this horse, can come off that effort like he did at, Mountaineer, certainly could end up winning this race. So he's one of those you're playing like, on your tickets, you can't leave him out of the race. Another horse that really kind of intrigues me a little bit is the number 5, Sibelius. I don't know if that name's pronounced right, but this horse in very good form. Won its last 2 races by 3 3/4, won by 7.5 lengths. I'll forgive this first start. It was the first race since May, so he might have been fully cranked to go that race. And this horse seems like he just wants to go a little shorter distance, not really so much, long. You start seeing like a mile and 16th, got 6, a mile got, 3rd. And of course, that first race off the layoff was 7 furlongs. Then he bumped down to 6, and that's where he seems to be doing a little bit better. So the horse is in very good form. Already has a win over the Keeneland track. And for me, that's another horse that kind of intrigues me to play tomorrow. To say I have if I had a strong opinion about any horse on this race, I'd be, kind of lying to you. I think Necker Island's a horse that could certainly get into the top 4 easy, if not even maybe the top 3. And this horse, is just loves to close, and as you can see, start 6th, 4th, 7th. He just winds up in closing the 1st, 4th, 2nd, 1st, 3rd. He doesn't always win, but he always seems to give you a finish, and that could certainly be a horse that could, you can't leave out when it comes to your trifecta and superfectas like that. And you got Manny Wahoo, raced on the Kentucky Derby Trail a few years ago, so you got a little bit of name recognition there. And kind of the same thing. This horse likes to come from the back of the pack and wind up, being a closer. So, somebody that can certainly get, 4th, and at 8-1 might be, a little bit generous odds. And, Wayne Catalano's, not a bad trainer when it comes to sprint horses. So certainly one you can't leave out on your tickets. This will be a second start, off that little layoff that he has. So certainly could fire a better effort in this one. And then you got Long Range Toddy in the race for Dallas Stewart. And to me, Long Range Toddy is just in serious bad form right now. It's been a while since he's crossed the winner's circle. You got the past performance only shows the last 10 races, and you got to go all the way back to even past that and see when the last time he won any kind of races. And he's 0 for 6 at the distance. So for me, he's going to be one that gets left off the tickets, and he's not going to be on mine. And then that's going to bring me to race number 8 at Keeneland, and that's going to be the J.P. Morgan Chase Jessamine Stakes. It's a grade 2 fillies, 2-year-olds, mile and 16th on the turf. And there's not really no strong opinion at all that I have in this race. This is probably to me, one of the most wide open races for a day. Is I don't know what horse is going to take a step forward and win this race. And, you can make a case for, horses that kind of intrigue me would be, let me find it real quick. The number 5 by Blind Spot by Chaffee Joseph Jr. I think Chaffee Joseph Jr. is a little underrated when it comes to some of his turf races. He brings Edgar's Eyes. He's been a good jockey down at Gulfstream, and horse been working out there, so they're shifting him up to this race. And on the synthetic turf at Gulfstream last time, they won that race. And I think synthetic to turf, kind of play really close together. Seem like horses, don't have a problem racing on either of those surfaces. More, dirt to turf, turf to dirt, just like that, where you get the work kind of results. But the fact that he raced on synthetic, I'm not so worried about that. I think he could potentially handle the, switch over to turf. And then you got horse by Joe Sharp, Dulcia, who, raced 6 furlongs at Kentucky Downs, $150,000 maiden race, very high purse, and won the race. Of course, he'll be stretching out in distance. But I think this horse could potentially, actually win the race. And, if she can handle the distance from 6 furlongs to a mile and 16th. So for me, this is one that, I'll be thinking about on my ticket, especially at odds of 15-1. And, that's the 2 that I kind of like for this race. This race, there's nobody I just have a real strong opinion of. And that's kind of the theme of the day. Is I think all three of these races are potentially wide open. Maybe the Phoenix Stakes is probably the one race out of the three that will seem to have a most likely scenario of the right horse winning the race. And you got the Darley Alcibiades Stakes, which is a winning your end for the Kentucky, or not winning your end, but points race for the Kentucky Oaks. And this also draws another wide open field. And a couple of the horses that kind of intrigue me out of here would be Chop Chop by trained by Brad Cox. So Brad Cox is really good at Keeneland's meets the last couple of years, and also if you remember last year in the Rachel Alexandria, uh, I believe it's Turner Loose was the name. That was Brad Cox came off the turf, went over to dirt, and won the race on a points race. So I think Chop Chop may potentially replicate that same angle. That's kind of what I'm playing there. I want to play against Raising Delta by Chad Brown. This will be her first start since August. So for me, she's not going to be on the ticket. And another horse that I'm kind of going to look at, and you also can't leave out any Kenny McPeak horses this time of year. And you also got Just Cindy, number 11, that's at 20-1. This horse is by Justify. Broke its maiden at Churchill, won the Grade 3 Scourville. And then in the spinaway, didn't really fire at all in that. And, this could be one of those horses that winds up, having that one bad race and people want to jump onto something else. You start getting these Derby and Oaks prep races, it becomes a, what have you done for me lately type thing. So I think Just Cindy could certainly, fit that description. She can get back to form of these two races. Obviously, she'll be, stretching out the furthest distance she ever went, but, Justify won the Triple Crown. So to say that Just Cindy can't get the distance would be kind of hard to believe. It'll be more what form of the horses, and I think that does her in than being distance challenged. So for me, those are the horses I'm looking at, and I can't believe races for Derby and Oaks points are already back. You got a bunch of winning around Breeders' Cup races. K Rock runs on Saturday, so be a really good week for horse racing. I'll be here to cover it all. Thanks for watching, guys.